By now you can see that we have been filming around the world, from Scotland to Loomis to the sanctuary up to Skinner Mountain. I have shared this story before, but its meaning can take on different interpretations. When serving a church in Phoenix about 15 years ago, a fellow came up to our church doors looking very hot and thirsty, and he asked for water. So I invited him in, got him a glass of water so he didn't have to drink from the fountain. And as he was drinking away, he was studying the bulletin boards and reading. And then all of a sudden I could see he was agitated, and he pointed to a flyer and said, "Are you one of those churches that drops off gallons of water in the desert to lure the illegal aliens over the border?" My response was, our intent is not to lure. We drive to the border once a month to support this ministry, No More Deaths. His response caught me off guard. "You are supporting illegals," he said. To which I replied, we just do not want anyone to die crossing the desert. Look, here we gave you water, and are you aware that in the state of Arizona, it's illegal to refuse anyone water? As he turned his bike around and left, he said, "I disagree." While the verbal exchange was unsettling, I felt he didn't pick up on my welcoming. I say this 15 years later. Like Pastor Diane Roth, who writes in the clergy magazine Christian Century, I have always read this verse mistakenly. Instead of reading, anyone who accepts what you do accepts me, the one who sent you, or with the New Revised Standard Version, it reads, whoever welcomes you welcomes me and welcomes God. I must not have read it carefully as I am reading it now. It's not about you or me welcoming someone like I did with the biker in Arizona, but it's about you and me being welcomed. When we are welcomed or accepted, then so is Jesus. As Jesus said, accepting someone's help is as good as giving someone help. Consider this. Jesus was giving his disciples a pep talk before he sent them out, preparing them for failure, for rejection, reminding them that they will not be at the center of power, but will exist in the margins. If we are not in the position of power or riches, who are we? I don't know about you, but this pandemic has dislocated me. Who am I when I cannot see and care for you or even the stranger, when I cannot welcome you? Who am I when my role has slipped away? Our friend Jesus turns us upside down yet again. We need to be welcomed, just as his vulnerable disciples did. While the disciples needed sustenance, they needed cold water, they needed a roof over their heads, we need to be just as exposed. This pandemic has dislodged us all to open our eyes to where we are vulnerable. And if you and I are vulnerable, so are those incarcerated, those with hungry bellies, those who are refugees, those connected to ventilators. Maybe Jesus meant us to witness from our places of vulnerability versus places of ease and comfort, where we control all the welcoming. COVID and racial injustice dare me to witness to God's love. In the process, I feel the need to ask, who am I now? Who are you as you face a new reality? Maybe we need to find our new comfort zone of being vulnerable. Anyone who accepts, welcomes me, accepts, welcomes Jesus. That's what Jesus wants. It's time to admit our weaknesses. It's time to listen to our racially diverse friends. It's time to show empathy as others are compassionate to us. Amen.